What if the existence you're anticipating is already corresponding to who you've become, not what you hoped for? Most individuals pursue objectives with fractured self-concept. But genuine transformation commences the instant you evolve into the type of individual who naturally magnetizes what they previously pleaded for. Because existence doesn't correspond to longing, it reflects conviction. Your patterns, mindset, and self-perception transmit your signal, enhance them, and the outcomes transform too. You don't receive what you desire, you receive what you embody. So, embody it now. In moments ahead, I will demonstrate why transforming your self-concept matters more than pursuing your longings, because you magnetize what you embody. Your existence mirrors your self-concept. You frequently question, why haven't I obtained what I desire yet? But pause and question something far more crucial. Who have I evolved into in pursuit of it? The reality is, existence doesn't grant you what you fantasize about. It grants you what corresponds to your essence. You can desire wealth, love, authority, tranquility, but until you evolve into the type of individual those things gravitate toward, they will escape you. Your present outcomes are a reflection of your internal gauge, and that gauge is calibrated by your self-perception. You don't ascend to your aspirations, you descend to your benchmark. You may announce objectives loudly, but your silent self-convictions still control the performance. Your patterns, your decisions, your mindset, they're all casting a ballot for the type of future you're progressing toward. Envision planting seeds. If you plant weeds but desire roses, the earth won't comply with your longing. It complies with your commitment. Your vitality, not your goal, is what nurtures the yield. So, question yourself, what am I magnetizing with the way I contemplate, communicate, and exist? Have I evolved into the type of individual my dreams would pursue? Transformation doesn't commence with the world surrounding you, it commences with the world inside you. Don't concentrate on possessing more, concentrate on being more. You cannot escape your self-perception. You desire success, but do you genuinely perceive yourself as successful? Because if your unconscious identity doesn't correspond to your longing, you will undermine your own elevation. This is why so many individuals triumph for a moment, then tumble right back to their comfort zone. They haven't transformed who they believe they are. You can exercise intensely, study texts, recite declarations, but if deeply you still view yourself as undeserving, existence will echo that frequency. You don't magnetize success by pursuing it, you magnetize it by embodying the mindset, principles, and behaviors of someone who already walks in it. Consider a rubber band. Stretch it far and it will extend, but release and it snaps back. Your identity is that anchor point. Until it shifts, your existence won't sustain transformation. You may become fit for several weeks, earn more money for several months, but then you'll retreat to what's familiar unless you elevate the benchmark of who you are without those outcomes. Question yourself, who would I need to evolve into to naturally exist at the level I long for? What would that individual think, do, believe? And am I willing to condition myself into that image? Not just wish for a different result. You don't transform your existence, you transform you, and the existence follows. Longing without alignment is friction. Longing alone is not strength. In fact, if it's misaligned with your identity, it can create frustration. You desire to expand your income, develop confidence, cultivate discipline. But these objectives pull against the patterns you've accepted for years. This creates friction, and friction leads to exhaustion. Most individuals don't quit because the objective is too distant. They quit because they haven't aligned internally to walk toward it daily. They don't believe yet. Picture an archer aiming for a target. If the arrow is perfect, but the bow is twisted, the shot misses. You are the bow. Until you align your convictions, intentions, and behaviors no strategy will consistently hit the mark. Question: where am I fighting my own self? What longings keep repeating but never manifest? What part of me is resisting the very thing I say I desire? There is no substitute for internal alignment. When your actions echo your principles, when your words mirror your conviction, and your conviction is rooted in vision, then success doesn't feel like struggle. It feels like gravity. The world reflects your frequency. Everything surrounding you responds to you, not to the mask you wear, nor to the titles you've collected, nor even the words you speak. It responds to the invisible signal you emit, your frequency. That subtle energy crafted in the furnace of your thoughts, convictions, and intentions radiates outward and sets the tone for what you magnetize. Existence does not respond to appearances. It responds to essence. You may perform confidence, stand tall, speak with force, smile wide. But if beneath all that your soul trembles with self-doubt, if your mind echoes the fear of failure, the world will sense it. You may give with open hands, but if bitterness hides behind your generosity, your giving carries weight, not warmth. The universe reads between the lines. It listens to your frequency, not your language. The principle is ancient, yet often forgotten. You do not magnetize what you say, you magnetize what you are. You are a magnet pulling individuals, opportunities, and results that correspond to your internal climate. If you dwell in scarcity, always thinking there's not enough time, not enough money, not enough love, you magnetize lack. But if you cultivate a mindset of abundance, trusting that more is always on its way, you begin to notice doors opening that you once thought were walls. Consider the individuals you've met who shift the atmosphere of a room just by entering it. They don't need to speak. Their very presence is a frequency, that is resonance. And it isn't manufactured, it's transmitted, because everything in creation is built on frequency, and you are no exception. You are always broadcasting, so question yourself honestly, what am I sending out into the world? Am I echoing trust or tension, expansion or contraction, strength or passivity? Existence isn't fooled by declarations, it listens to conviction. You don't need to speak louder, you need to align deeper. What you are being right now in this moment is shaping what you are receiving. Not someday, not when you hit your objectives, not when others approve. Now the frequency you hold is the reality you mold. Therefore, your task is not to strive harder, it is to tune yourself. Refine your signal. Let go of the mental noise and emotional clutter that scrambles your transmission. Begin to embody what you long for. Not perform it, but become it. Walk as if peace lives in your bones. Speak as if your words plant seeds of strength. Think as if your thoughts are brushes painting your future, because they are. And remember, existence always mirrors back what you are, not what you pretend to be. So if you desire more, be more. If you desire love, radiate it. If you desire opportunity, walk in expectancy. If you desire respect, carry yourself like someone who commands it, not through demand, but through quiet certainty. This is the path of alignment, not effort. Alignment. The world responds not to your hustle, but to your harmony. Tune yourself, and the universe will play in key. You don't receive what you pray for, you receive what you prepare for. You say you desire more peace, more money, more opportunity. But the question that echoes louder than any longing is this: are you prepared for it? For existence does not deliver based on your prayers alone. It delivers based on your preparation. Your readiness determines your receiving. And until you understand that, you will keep asking for what you have not built the capacity to hold. There is a reason why certain doors remain closed. Not because you are unworthy, but because you are unready. Existence protects you from what you cannot yet sustain. To receive something prematurely is to risk destroying both the gift and yourself. A throne given to a child becomes a prison. A fortune given to the undisciplined becomes a curse. Blessings, when delivered to an unprepared vessel, turn into burden. Envision a farmer. He kneels and prays for rain. But if his field lies unplowed, his seeds unsown, his soil unfortified, what happens when the skies finally open? Flood, chaos, ruin. The rain that was meant to nourish becomes the very thing that overwhelms. This is the truth most overlook. Preparation is faith in motion. To prepare for what you do not yet see is to tell the universe you believe it is coming, that you trust the timing, that you are serious about receiving. You say you desire peace, but do your patterns create space for stillness? You say you desire abundance, but do your thoughts recycle scarcity? You say you desire opportunity, but are you sharpening your skills in the dark so you're ready when the light finds you? Question yourself, have I truly prepared for what I asked for? If success knocked today, would I be ready to host it? Would my character support the weight of influence? Would my daily disciplines preserve the fortune I claim to seek? Would my mindset, my humility, my integrity expand with success or collapse beneath it? Existence is not a lottery. It is a mirror. And if you do not yet see what you seek, it is because you have more becoming to do. The universe is not punishing you with delay. It is preparing you through development. It is asking you to build the version of yourself who can carry the future you envision. Stop waiting, start becoming. Become the kind of individual who makes peace a lifestyle, not a request. Become the kind of individual who manages small resources with excellence so that greater resources are safe in your hands. Become the kind of individual who shows up early, stays late, learns deeply, and exists intentionally. For the one who prepares in silence, opportunity eventually knocks with thunder. For the one who trains in the shadows, success appears to be sudden. But nothing great is sudden. It is earned through the quiet work of readiness. It is forged in obscurity. Do not envy the person who rose quickly. Envy the one who built quietly, who grew roots before branches, who trusted that when his time came, he would not have to scramble. He would simply step into alignment. So today, prepare. Prepare as if the answer to your prayer is already on its way, because it is. But it will not stay unless you are ready to sustain it. Your preparation is your permission slip to destiny. Sign it with action, and you won't need to chase blessings. They will recognize you and stay. The unseen identity governs the visible existence. Everything you do flows from who you believe you are, not who others think you are, not who you pretend to be, but the quiet conviction pulsing beneath your choices. If your outcomes puzzle you, if your existence keeps producing results that contradict your longings, look inward, not outward. For your identity is the root. Your outcomes are only the fruit. You may crave excellence. You may study, plan, hustle, and pray. But if your core identity still clings to mediocrity, to old labels, past failures, or the false humility of not enough, then your patterns will sabotage your intentions. No matter how grand your objectives, you will never ascend higher than the ceiling of your self-perception. You don't perform according to your potential. You perform according to your conviction about your potential. This unseen identity, your self-concept, your deep-seated convictions, writes the blueprint for your external existence. This is why two individuals with the same education, the same opportunities, and the same starting line can produce drastically different outcomes. One believes they deserve greatness, the other believes they must settle. The world will mirror whichever conviction they broadcast. It is not arrogance to believe in your worth. It is obedience to truth. You were not made to shrink into the mold others created for you. You were built to grow into the vision placed inside you. Every time you limit yourself to the expectations of others, you betray your divine design. Picture a stage actor. They may wear the costume of a king or a pauper, but their performance follows the script they rehearse. And so it is with your existence. No matter how much you change your wardrobe, your job, your location, or your circle, if the inner script stays the same, the story repeats. You are the actor and the author. You've been rehearsing this story for years. Question yourself, what script have I been reciting silently? Is it a story of fear, failure, and barely getting by? Or one of courage, conviction, and becoming? What lines have I let play on repeat? I'm not good enough. This always happens to me. I'll never break through. These are not harmless thoughts. They are rehearsals. And what you rehearse, you become. The good news, you can rewrite the script. When you change the story, you change the role. And when you change the role, you alter the outcomes. No longer the victim, you become the victor. No longer the doubter, you become the doer. And it starts not with massive action, but with internal permission. Give yourself permission to believe in your worth, to expect better, to embody excellence. Begin to speak from the new script. Even if your voice trembles, begin to walk in the posture of the individual you're becoming, even if your steps are unsure. Identity precedes transformation. Behavior is only the echo. Begin within. The rest will follow, because your identity is the thermostat of your existence. Set it higher, and everything around you must ascend to meet it. You were not born to repeat the past. You were born to rewrite the future. And that future begins with how you see yourself today. Your circle echoes your benchmark. Take a hard look at the individuals closest to you. They are not merely companions. They are a living mirror of your mindset, your benchmarks, your current identity. Who surrounds you is not a coincidence. It is confirmation of who you have chosen to become or who you've chosen to remain. You might speak of change. You might dream of ascending higher. But if your circle is filled with comfort seekers, excuse makers, or complainers, that is the energy you have allowed into your orbit. And whether you see it or not, it reflects something still present in you. Like always magnetizes like. Before your surroundings can evolve, you must evolve. This is not about abandoning individuals. It is about leading yourself. It is about being so committed to your growth that you become the benchmark not just for your existence, but for the energy around you. When you elevate your expectations for yourself in thought, in speech, in behavior, others will either ascend to meet you or fall away. Let them. Growth does not ask for permission. Envision a flame. When it's weak, it draws little attention. But as it grows, it brings light. It radiates warmth. It commands presence, but it also drives away the shadows. That flame is your purpose, your vision, your becoming. Feed it, protect it, and let it purify your environment. Question yourself, are my daily conversations building my future or binding me to my past? Do the individuals around me celebrate growth or retreat into comfort? Am I surrounded by those who reflect my highest self or my old self? Your environment is shaping you more than you realize. You may have ambition, but if your circle reinforces complacency, you will remain stuck. You need challenge. You need truth. You need individuals who see more in you than you sometimes see in yourself. So elevate your benchmarks, elevate your internal frequency. The moment you do, the composition of your circle begins to shift. Some will sense the flame and be ignited. Others will retreat. That is not loss, that is alignment. When you become intentional about your inner world, the outer world responds. You won't need to beg for better relationships, better opportunities, or better energy. You will magnetize it by who you are. Choose your circle as if your destiny depends on it, because it does. The body responds to the mind's command. Your posture, your patterns, even your energy, they obey your thoughts. You are not simply a body navigating this world. You are a mind transmitting instructions. And the body, it listens. Your walk shifts when you believe you matter. Your voice gains weight when you believe you're valuable. The body is not the commander the mind is every single day without realizing it. You are running script. Silent commands that dictate how you behave, how you respond, how you sense. Whisper to yourself, I'm exhausted, and your spine bends. Your breathing shallows, your ambition fades, but speak to yourself, I am powerful, and something ancient within you ascends. Your chest opens, your back straightens. You move as if you belong, because now you believe you do. This is not fantasy. This is biology. Your nervous system is a loyal listener. Your words become its signals. Your convictions become its instructions. And it will shape your posture, your pace, your presence to correspond to what it hears. You are sculpting your state with every phrase you repeat, whether consciously or not. Picture a soldier on the edge of battle. If his mind is filled with images of defeat, his hands tremble, his eyes lose focus. But if his inner voice declares victory, even in the face of fear, his body steadies, his senses sharpen, his courage awakens, his outer form bends to the will of his inner conviction. That same principle governs you. Question yourself, what have I been commanding myself to sense? What have I been declaring through repetition with my words, with my tone, with my expectations? Because repetition is not just a teacher. It is a master sculptor. The thoughts you rehearse most become the blueprint of your being. You must become intentional with your inner dialogue. You must notice when you're reinforcing weakness under the disguise of honesty. I can't focus. I always fail. I'm not good enough. These are not mere observations. These are instructions. And your body complies. Change the input and the output transforms. Tell yourself, I am focused. Your attention sharpens. Declare, I always ascend. Your energy increases. Say, I carry value. Your presence expands. The shift begins not outside but within, and as you shift, the world shifts with you. Individuals respond not to the real you, but to the revealed you. And you reveal who you are by how you carry yourself. Speak defeat and they see a defeated person. Speak strength and they see a leader. It begins with a choice, not a loud one, but a consistent one. A whisper you turn into a ritual. I am ready. I am worthy. I am becoming. Keep saying it. Your body is listening, so is your destiny. You become what you tolerate. Your existence is not built in the big moments. It is not shaped in applause or spotlight. It is built quietly, invisibly in what you allow, excuse, and accept every single day. The small choices, the silent tolerances, the whispered justifications, these are the bricks of your becoming. Each time you let something slide that goes against your principles, you are not simply compromising a benchmark. You are sculpting a self. You are writing a quiet contract with your future, promising less than your potential. And the tragedy is you may not even realize it. This is the erosion of greatness, not through dramatic collapse, but through slow surrender, through the daily decision to tolerate what should be confronted, to excuse what should be corrected, to accept what should be challenged. You may say it's just one missed workout, just one more excuse, just one lie I told myself to get through the day. But repetition builds reputation, and reputation becomes identity. You are always teaching yourself what you value, teaching yourself what you tolerate, teaching yourself what you're willing to settle for. Consider a stone beneath a dripping faucet. One drop does nothing. A dozen drops seem harmless. But over time, that steady, constant drip carves a groove. It reshapes what once stood firm. That's what compromise does to your character. You don't become weak all at once. You fade. You dull. You erode. Not because you failed, but because you accepted what was easier, what was safer, what was less. Question yourself. What have I tolerated so long that it now defines me? What boundaries did I once hold firm but now blur because I was afraid of discomfort or change or judgment? What have I let repeat so often that it now feels like truth? Greatness does not arrive with a trumpet. It is not delivered by chance or inherited by luck. It is forged quietly, ruthlessly by the individual who holds the line when it would be easier to lower it. It is found in the person who gets up when no one would fault him for staying down, in the woman who speaks truth when silence would be more convenient, in the soul who does the hard thing, the right thing, the thing they promised themselves they would do even when no one is watching. Because that is the real test, not how you act when the crowd is watching, but how you exist when no one sees. When it's just you and your benchmark, you and your reflection, you and the value made in the silence. You are building a reputation with yourself every day, every moment. And that reputation is either reinforcing your worth or undermining it. You cannot fake greatness. You cannot shortcut it. You earn it one refusal at a time. Refusal to excuse what you know is wrong. Refusal to tolerate what you know weakens you. Refusal to accept what you know is beneath you. Hold the line. That is where strength grows. That is where confidence is born. That is where integrity becomes identity. Your future is not asking for perfection. It is asking for consistency, for courage, for resolve, for a benchmark you do not negotiate. You may never control the result, but you always control the benchmark. So draw the line, hold the line, and watch who you become because of it. Your energy teaches others how to treat you. Individuals don't just listen to your words, they read your presence. Before you speak a single sentence, your energy has already spoken volumes. Your body language, your tone, your boundaries, they all communicate who you are and how you expect to be treated. You cannot fake confidence. And when you try, the world senses the gap. If you walk timid, hesitant, unsure, you do not merely blend into the background. You signal to others that it is safe to disregard you, that you will tolerate being overlooked, that your own benchmark for yourself is negotiable. But if you walk with purpose, shoulders back, eyes steady, steps firm, you do not have to demand respect. You command it not through force, but through alignment, because your conviction in yourself is palpable. It is not a shout. It is a signal. The world does not treat you as you wish to be treated. It treats you as you expect to be. And your expectations are revealed not through your words, but through your way of being. Your energy is your first language. Before trust is built, before connection is formed, individuals observe your frequency. They calibrate to your conviction. They test the waters of your presence, and they mirror it back. Consider a lion in the wild. It doesn't need to roar at every moment to prove its strength. Its stillness speaks. Its calm exudes dominance. Its lack of fear establishes territory. You must carry yourself the same way, not with arrogance, not with noise, but with an unshakable, rooted confidence, a quiet dignity that says, I know who I am. I honor myself. You should too. Question yourself. What is my energy teaching others about me? What message do I send before I ever open my mouth? Have I been shrinking, dimming, apologizing for my own existence and calling it humility? Have I mistaken playing small for being kind? Real humility is strength under control. It is strength that does not need to flaunt. It is presence that does not need to chase validation, but it is never weakness. It is never self-erasure. It is never the absence of self-respect. Every day you are training others how to treat you through your boundaries, through your tone, through how you carry yourself in a room. If you allow disrespect, it continues. If you stay silent when your principles are crossed, the silence becomes consent. If you look to others for permission, they will give you limitation. You must embody what you desire to magnetize. You desire honor, walk honorably. You desire respect, speak and move as one who respects themselves. You desire strength, carry strength within first. This is not a game of pretending. It is a journey of aligning with the truth of your worth, your dignity, your divine right to take up space. And when you align, you don't need to perform. You simply are. And individuals sense it. You magnetize what you embody. And if your inner world is strong, your outer world begins to reflect it. Opportunities change, relationships evolve, environments respond, because the world doesn't lead you, it reflects you. Elevate your energy, not through noise, but through depth. Not through ego, but through clarity. Let your very presence say, I am here with intention. I am not lesser, I do not shrink, I stand in truth. You do not need to demand, just stand. You do not need to prove, just be. And the world will notice, it always does. Your patterns predict your future. Look not at your dreams, but at your daily rituals. Dreams are easy to speak. They sound beautiful. They inspire applause, but they cost nothing. Your real conviction is revealed in repetition. What you do every day declares who you are becoming more than any vision board or spoken objective ever could. You may say you desire success, peace, love, or wealth, but your patterns will tell the truth. Your routines are the evidence. They are the roots beneath the surface. And just like a tree, what grows tomorrow is already being shaped today. Every great existence is built on small disciplines. Not grand declarations, not emotional breakthroughs, not spur-of-the-moment inspiration, but quiet, consistent behaviors that compound over time. The invisible choices, the morning routines, the thoughts you rehearse, the boundaries you protect, these form the foundation. You magnetize what you prepare for. And preparation is never accidental. It is built into how you exist. Your patterns are either preparing you or preventing you. You say you desire wealth. Then examine how you treat the resources you have now. Do you respect your money? Do you save? Do you invest in growth? Or do you squander what you call too little while dreaming of more someday? You say you long for peace. Then examine your relationship with stillness. When anxiety ascends, do you sit in silence or do you flee into distraction, into screens, noise, or busy work? Peace is not found in the absence of conflict, but in the practice of presence. You say you desire love, then question how you treat yourself when the room is empty. Do you speak kindly to your reflection? Do you forgive yourself? Do you hold yourself to a benchmark worthy of someone who is loved? Envision a gardener. He wishes for oranges, dreams of sweet fruit, tells others of his future orchard. But he waters thorns, neglects the seed, and ignores the soil. His wish is irrelevant. His harvest obeys his pattern. That is the reality of existence. Your results do not respond to what you desire. They respond to what you repeatedly do. Longing is not enough. It must be partnered with discipline. Question yourself, what patterns am I practicing? Are these rituals preparing me for the future I claim to long for, or are they sabotaging it in slow motion? Examine your mornings, examine your nights. How do you end the day? With gratitude, reflection, preparation, or with numbing, scrolling, and escape? Examine your speech. Do you speak as one who believes in the future you envision? Or do you casually speak defeat, doubt, and delay? Every small choice adds up. Every pattern is a vote for the identity you are building. The question is, are you casting votes for the version of yourself you desire to become, or for the version you desire to escape? The future is not written by fate. It is carved by repeated action. You do not receive what you wish for, you receive what you work for. And you work in the quiet routines no one sees. You desire a new existence? Then you must choose new patterns. And you must repeat them long enough that your identity catches up. Because transformation is not an event. It is a shift, a becoming, one decision at a time. You do not need to change everything overnight, but you do need to start today. Small, specific, aligned. Desire to become a writer? Then write daily, even badly. Desire to become fit? Then move your body even when it's inconvenient. Desire to become financially free? Then study, budget, plan even when it feels boring. Over time, the patterns harden into identity, and your identity begins to speak louder than your doubts. So do not look too far ahead. Look at today, because today is the seed of all your tomorrows. And what you plant in repetition, you will harvest in reality. The invisible wall of limiting convictions. You may not see the prison, but you're existing in it. It has no bars, no guards, no gates, only thoughts. And yet it is as real as any cell. It keeps you from ascending, from risking, from realizing your potential. Every time you say, "I'm not good at this, I can't," or "individuals like me don't," you are not just expressing doubt, you are laying down another brick. You are building the very walls that block you from the doors you were born to open. These walls are invisible, but their effects are undeniable. They limit what you attempt, who you meet, how high you reach. These limiting convictions are learned. You weren't born thinking small. You were taught through experience, through repetition, through the fears of others projected onto your path. Teacher, a parent, a friend, a past failure. These voices echo in your mind, and over time, they become your own. But convictions are not facts. They are permissions. They are agreements you've made with yourself, often unconsciously. And the most dangerous convictions are not the loud ones. They are the quiet ones. You don't even question. You say, "I'm just not a leader." Who told you that? And why did you agree? You say, "I could never do that," but have you ever attempted with all your might? You say, "That kind of existence isn't for individuals like me," but who are you really? And who defined that boundary? Picture an elephant tied by a thin rope. As a baby, the rope held him. He learned that resistance was futile. He accepted his limit. Now grown, he could easily break free. But he doesn't. Why? Because the rope isn't around his leg, it's around his mind. You are that elephant. The rope may be an old story, an outdated label, a childhood memory, a moment of shame, but the truth is, the rope no longer holds you. Only your conviction in it does. Question yourself. What conviction have I accepted that is not serving me? What limit have I obeyed without challenging it? What have I labeled impossible without ever testing the truth? This is the beginning of freedom, not by breaking chains, but by recognizing they were never real. By seeing that the doors were open all along, you only needed the courage to walk through them. You do not need to. You only need to question, to examine your thoughts the way you would examine a contract. Who wrote this rule you're existing by? And do you still agree? You must dismantle the convictions that convinced you a lesser existence was your ceiling, because nothing outside is stopping you. Not the economy, not your past, not your background, only the inner story you keep repeating. And you are allowed to rewrite it. Desire a greater existence? Then elevate the benchmark of your thoughts. Speak truth to your doubt. Say, "I don't know yet, but I'm willing to learn." Say, This is unfamiliar, but I can grow. Say, I've failed before, but I am not a failure. Every time you challenge a lie, you remove a brick. Every time you act in spite of fear, you shake the walls. Every time you step toward growth, you loosen the rope. This is how you change. Not by waiting for permission, but by realizing you were never truly bound. You were trained to stay small. But now you know the prison was never outside of you. It lived in your convictions, and conviction can be rebuilt. So start today. Start with one thought you've always accepted but never questioned. Pull on it, test it, and if it breaks, let it fall. Because your future does not depend on your past. It depends on your permission, and freedom begins the moment you say, I no longer believe that. Your internal language shapes external reality. Words carry strength, not just the ones spoken aloud, but especially the ones you whisper to yourself. You are in constant dialogue with your own mind, morning to night. A stream of thoughts flows quietly beneath your actions. That voice is shaping you. Every decision, every hesitation, every move forward or backward begins with what you tell yourself in the silence. If that inner dialogue is filled with doubt, shame, or defeat, then your outcomes will echo that same script. Tell yourself you're not smart enough and you will act without confidence. Tell yourself you're unlucky and your attention will lock onto setbacks instead of solutions. But tell yourself you're capable, not perfect, but capable, and your behavior begins to ascend to meet that conviction. It's not magic. It's not empty affirmation. It is psychology. Your self-talk sets the thermostat of behavior. The mind is like a room with many doors. Most of them stay closed because your language keeps them locked. But when you change the phrase even slightly, the door cracks open. Say, I can figure this out. And suddenly the mind searches for solutions. Say, I always mess this up, and it seeks evidence to support the defeat. You are not just the listener of your thoughts. You are the author. And every word you choose programs your emotional environment. It creates your lens. And through that lens, you interpret the world. Consider a captain steering a ship. The rudder is small compared to the vessel, but it determines the direction. Your words are that rudder. Quiet, subtle, but deeply influential. A shift in language creates a shift in path. When your language is full of fear, your vision narrows. You focus on what could go wrong. You hesitate, you shrink. But when your language is infused with conviction, your vision expands. You begin to see paths you ignored. You entertain the idea that progress is possible and that conviction becomes fuel. What phrases have you rehearsed so often they now run on autopilot? Consider it. The things you say without thinking are the ones that shape you most. Are they empowering you or excusing you? Are they giving you reasons to ascend or rationalizations to retreat? You might not realize it, but the words you repeat are scripts. Scripts you act out day after day. I can never focus. I always mess this up. I don't belong in rooms like that. These aren't harmless statements. They are instructions. You give them to your mind, and your mind, ever obedient, follows them. But just as you've learned to speak defeat, you can also learn to speak strength. You don't need louder motivation. You need cleaner language. Language that reflects truth, not fear. Words that clarify, not confuse. And once your mind starts to believe in a new narrative, your body will follow. Your behavior will adapt. Your patterns will shift. This isn't about lying to yourself. It's about telling yourself a better truth. The kind that gives you energy instead of draining it. The kind that aligns with the future you desire to build, not the past you desire to escape. Begin here. Pay attention. Catch the words you say in frustration, in fatigue, in fear, then pause. Replace them not with perfect affirmations, but with honest possibility. I don't know how yet. This is tough, but I've faced worse. I'm not where I desire to be, but I'm not stuck. Language is the lever. Use it to lift your existence. Change your internal dialogue and you change your direction. Say, I am learning, and the mind becomes a student. Say, I am worthy, and the heart begins to heal. Say, I can change, and change begins. The future you desire doesn't need a louder voice shouting from the outside. It needs a steadier voice whispering from within. One that says, with certainty, I am becoming, and I speak it until I see it. The world rewards boldness, not hesitation. Caution has its place. It has saved existences. It has protected dreams from premature destruction. But when caution turns into hesitation, when reflection becomes paralysis, you don't stay safe. You stay stuck. There is a cost to waiting, and it is often paid in lost momentum, missed opportunities, and untapped potential. You magnetize not what you wish for in silence, but what you move toward with courage. The universe does not reward those who endlessly analyze from the sidelines. It responds to movement, to effort, to energy. Momentum is magnetic. Action speaks a language louder than preparation ever could. You may be waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect version of yourself, but perfection is a mirage. It moves as you approach it. Existence was never meant to be mastered before it is lived. The most pivotal breakthroughs happen not in moments of certainty, but in moments of decision. You say, I'll move when I'm ready. But readiness is not a sensation. It is a decision. Boldness does not arise from having all the answers. It arises from having enough clarity to begin and enough faith to adapt. Opportunities don't knock on hesitant doors. They are magnetized to movement, not mastery. When you move, even if imperfectly, you signal to existence itself, I'm ready to grow. I'm willing to learn. I'm open to be shaped by the path. Consider explorers setting out without maps, only compasses. They didn't wait for detailed instructions. They trusted the direction of their conviction. And because they moved, they discovered. Their steps drew new paths. Their boldness created roads where none existed. You must question yourself, what have I delayed out of fear disguised as wisdom? What objective, what leap, what relationship, what purpose have I postponed while pretending to be strategic or smart? The truth is, most delays are not about intelligence. They are about fear. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of being wrong. But in the waiting, we sacrifice our window. And over time, we train ourselves to doubt every urge for movement. Hesitation is not neutral. It sends a message to your mind, to your spirit, to the world. It says, I am not ready. I do not believe. I do not trust myself. And soon others mirror that back. Opportunities shrink. Confidence fades. Existence moves on without you. But boldness turns the tide. It doesn't just move you, it moves others. It magnetizes trust, invites collaboration, commands respect. Boldness says, I will learn in motion. I will grow on the path. I will trust myself enough to go, even if I don't feel flawless. You may stumble, you may make mistakes, but mistakes made in motion are lessons. Mistakes made in hesitation are regrets. The former leads to growth. The latter breeds resentment. So what would your existence look like if you trusted your decision instead of doubting it into extinction? What would shift if you acted on your idea before it felt safe? What doors might open if you stepped into the room before the invitation was formal? The world respects action. Not noise, not theory, not endless preparation, but the simple, courageous act of stepping forward. Even if you shake, even if your voice trembles, even if you only know the first step, Your momentum is waiting for your movement. The next chapter of your existence isn't written by chance, it is written by choice. So choose motion, choose trust, choose boldness, because the moment you do, the tide shifts, the path appears, the world responds, and the existence you've been waiting for begins to wait for you. Step forward, even if it shakes. Self-respect is the root of magnetism. You cannot demand from the world what you deny to yourself. Respect, love, trust, these are not gifts granted by others. They are mirrors reflecting what you have cultivated within. If you walk through existence hoping for others to treat you well while you speak to yourself with judgment, neglect your own needs, and compromise your worth, you will find yourself in a constant state of disappointment. The world pays attention to your example. How you carry yourself teaches others how to treat you. When you walk in self-respect, you do not need to shout, you do not need to explain or beg. You radiate a quiet authority, one that sets the tone, one that makes it clear this is an individual who values themselves. That energy cannot be faked, it is sensed, and it shifts the room. It repels the unworthy, those who would take advantage, those who seek to diminish. And it magnetizes the aligned, those who honor, uplift, and see you clearly. Envision a house built on a shaky foundation. It may look fine on the outside. It may even stand through small storms, but eventually the cracks reveal themselves. Pressure exposes the weakness. That's what happens when we demand respect from the outside while denying it within. But consider a house with a strong foundation. It doesn't fear the storm. It stands firm because it was built right. Your self-respect is that foundation. It is what holds you steady when existence tests your boundaries, your worth, your resolve. And self-respect is not given, it is earned. Earned by keeping promises to yourself, by showing up even when no one else is watching, by refusing to shrink or bend to be accepted. It is forged in moments where you choose discomfort over self-betrayal, where you say, I matter. Not through words, but through action. When you honor your time, you teach others to do the same. When you uphold your principles, you filter out those who cannot meet them. When you set benchmarks and enforce them, you create an existence that reflects who you are, not just what you're willing to tolerate. Question yourself honestly, where have I allowed disrespect in the name of keeping peace? How many times have I bitten my tongue, lowered my voice, ignored my instincts to make others comfortable? What have I endured that I would never advise someone I love to endure? True peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the presence of alignment. And you cannot be aligned with your purpose if you are constantly abandoning yourself for the sake of others. What would it look like to honor yourself first? Not in selfishness, but in truth. To say, my needs matter. To say, my voice matters. To say, this space, this energy, this heart, they are sacred. And not everyone gets access. The moment you respect yourself deeply, the world shifts. It ascends to meet you. It begins to mirror back the strength, clarity, and worth that you carry. The invitations change. The conversations elevate. The love you magnetize feels different, because it is. What you magnetize next will not be a coincidence. It will be a reflection, a result of the new benchmark you've set. A reward for no longer waiting to be chosen, but for choosing yourself first. Let the world catch up to your new frequency. Don't rush to fill the silence left behind by what no longer fits. In that quiet space, something better is being drawn to you. Not because you begged for it, but because you became it. Stand tall in your worth, not with arrogance, but with certainty. Not to prove anything, but to protect everything you've built. You are not asking for too much. You are simply no longer available for too little. And what you magnetize next will be worth the wait. You are the benchmark you set. You keep hoping existence will elevate its offer, that if you just wait long enough, the right opportunity, the right relationship, the right breakthrough will appear. But existence does not work that way. It does not reward passivity. It responds to clarity, and clarity begins with the benchmark you set. Every outcome in your existence, the quality of your relationships, the depth of your peace, the success of your pursuits, is not a reflection of your intrinsic worth. Your worth is unquestionable. It is infinite. But your results reflect what you've been willing to accept, what you've tolerated, what you've settled for in the name of convenience, fear, or fatigue. Elevate your benchmarks, and everything begins to change. Not always quickly, but inevitably. Because when your benchmark ascends, so do your expectations. Your patterns shift. Your decisions become more aligned, and the world, seeing your unwavering stance, adjusts. You do not need permission to expect more. You do not need anyone else to agree with your longing for a higher quality of existence. What you need is discipline. The discipline to demand more from yourself in your effort, your focus, your self-care, your words. The world will only offer what you've prepared to receive. And preparation begins with personal alignment. Benchmarks are not loud proclamations. They are silent boundaries. They shape what you say yes to, and more importantly, what you refuse. They are the invisible lines that guide your daily choices, define your relationships, and protect your purpose. Envision a king setting laws for his kingdom. Those laws are not suggestions. They are declarations of what is allowed within his gates. They define the culture, the behavior, the tone of the land. The same is true for you. You are the ruler of your internal kingdom, and the laws you set, the benchmarks you uphold, tell the world what is acceptable in your space. You say you desire loyalty, but tolerate dishonesty. You say you desire peace, but keep inviting chaos. You say you desire growth, but keep patterns that pull you backward. That contradiction is not existence's fault. It is a signal that your benchmark needs strengthening. Question yourself, what have I lowered simply because I was tired of waiting? Where did I drop the bar in the name of being realistic, patient, or liked? What dreams have I downsized to fit the comfort of others? And more importantly, what would happen if I refused to drop the bar again? When your benchmark becomes excellence, mediocrity cannot survive in your space. It will be uncomfortable. Some individuals will leave. Some patterns will resist. But that is the refining. That is the price of a higher existence. You must be willing to hold the line, to look discomfort in the face and say, I'm not lowering myself to be accepted. I'm ascending so I can lead. To feel lonely for a season so that you never again feel deluded for a lifetime. Setting a higher benchmark is not about being rigid, it's about being rooted. Rooted in your principles. Rooted in your worth. Rooted in a vision of who you are becoming. And when that vision becomes more important than temporary ease, everything begins to shift. Your time becomes more protected. Your circle becomes more intentional. Your energy becomes more potent, because now everything is filtered through a higher lens. Let this be your turning point. Not with drama, but with decision. Quietly elevate the bar and then refuse to lower it. Let your new benchmark speak without words. Let it be seen in how you walk, how you speak, how you respond. Let it be sensed by those who enter your space. Let it guide you through temptation, through fatigue, through fear. Because once you set a benchmark rooted in truth and reinforced by action, existence cannot help but respond. The individuals around you change, the way you're treated changes, and most importantly, the way you see yourself transformed. And that, more than anything, is the true reward of a higher benchmark. You become someone you respect, someone you trust, someone you can count on. And that changes everything. The subconscious magnetizes what you feed it. You may not realize it, but your subconscious is always listening. It hears you when you speak with doubt. It hears you when you complain. It hears you when you say, I can't, I never, or it's too late. And more importantly, it believes you. But it is not moved by what you say once, it is moved by what you repeat. Repetition is its native language. Your mind is fertile ground. It doesn't judge what you plant, it simply accepts it. Then it multiplies it. So if you continually feed it thoughts rooted in fear, scarcity, and comparison, those become your lens. You start to see the world through a filter of limitation. You find reasons to hold back, to play small, to hesitate, and eventually you exist in a reality that echoes those thoughts.
But if you shift your inputs, if you fill your mind with conviction, with clarity, with gratitude, everything changes. You begin to imagine more, expect more, and act accordingly. Your reality starts to bend in the direction of your dominant thought. Not because of magic, but because your internal state changes how you interpret and engage with the world.
Your subconscious is the most powerful engine you possess, but it needs training, and that training comes through repetition, emotion, and imagination. These are the tools that imprint your subconscious and shape your identity. Consider your mind like a compass. Your conscious thoughts set the direction. They decide the objective. But your subconscious is the engine that takes you there. Once it is trained, it works automatically. It notices opportunities you used to overlook. It strengthens patterns that align with your vision. It guides your behavior to correspond to your internal programming. But here's the truth. If you don't program your subconscious, the world will. It will fill you with noise, fear, and distraction. It will train you to doubt, to consume, to respond. That's why guarding your mental input is essential, because every word, every image, every affirmation is a seed. And your subconscious is always fertile. Question yourself, what affirmations, thoughts, and images am I rehearsing daily? What am I letting play in the background of my existence? What scripts am I internalizing without even realizing it? Are they building me or breaking me? Are they leading me toward who I desire to become, or anchoring me to who I've been? You don't need to speak loud, you need to speak often. You need to be intentional. Instead of letting fear narrate your day, choose words that elevate. I am capable. I am resourceful. I am becoming. Say them not once but daily. Tie them to emotion. See yourself existing them. Sense the truth of them. That's how you speak to the subconscious. That's how you rewire conviction. Visualization, too, is not just a dreamer's tool. It's a programmer's technique. When you vividly imagine yourself succeeding, sensing the emotion, engaging all your senses, your subconscious cannot tell the difference between real and vividly imagined experience. So it starts building behaviors that align with that image. Your brain is always building connections. Strengthen the ones that serve you, starve the ones that sabotage you. If you constantly think, I'll never catch up, your brain will find evidence to support it. But if you say, I am catching momentum, you begin to spot moments of growth and your mind expands in that direction. Guard your inputs, the books you read, the individuals you allow close, the tone you speak in, the music you consume, the conversations you replay, because each of these either supports your direction or scatters it. Your subconscious doesn't care if the inputs are true, it only cares if they are consistent. So choose them wisely.
This is how magnetism works, not by wishing, but by aligning. You become a magnet for what corresponds to your dominant internal state. You draw in what you prepare for what you believe you deserve. So believe with intention, speak with purpose, imagine with clarity. Train your subconscious like an ally because it is listening. And if you give it the right instructions, it will take you exactly where you were meant to go.
What you fear, you often invite. Fear is magnetic, not because it has strength of its own, but because of the strength we give it through repetition. What you constantly fear, you unknowingly rehearse. And what you rehearse, your mind begins to embody. You exist as if it's already true, and in that way, you magnetize it. You may say, I don't desire to fail. I don't desire to be rejected. I don't desire to lose. I don't desire to be alone. But when those fears dominate your internal dialogue, when they become the soundtrack of your thoughts, something happens. You begin to exist in reaction to them. You create tension, anxiety, overcorrection. You hesitate, you overcompensate. And in doing so, you unknowingly participate in the very results you dread. Fear focuses your attention, and your attention creates patterns. Whatever you stare at becomes your center of gravity. Your mind begins solving for the scenario you fear, even if it hasn't happened. That focus shapes your decisions, your posture, your tone. It leads you to act not with intention, but with defense. And existing in defense creates an existence of limits. Vision walking a tightrope high above the ground. The rope is narrow, but sturdy. The balance is within you. Yet your eyes are locked on the fall. Not on the rope, not on the finish line, just the drop. Every step you take is burdened with fear, and in focusing on the danger, you compromise your own stability. It's not that the fall is certain. It's that your focus rehearses it so vividly, your body responds as if it's happening now. This is how fear works. It pulls your future into your present and makes you exist it prematurely. It hijacks your imagination and uses it against you. But here's the truth. Imagination is neutral. It will grow whatever seed you plant. And fear is just a seed, a thought, not a prophecy. Question yourself, what fear have I given so much attention to that I'm now walking in alignment with it? Is it fear of failure that keeps me from attempting? Fear of rejection that makes me stay silent? Fear of loss that keeps me from loving fully? And now question, what would change if I focused on the desired result instead? What if my imagination rehearsed victory, not defeat? Connection, not rejection. Progress, not loss. You don't have to eliminate fear to ascend, but you must choose where you stare. You must decide what gets your energy, because magnetism obeys your dominant emotions. If anxiety rules your mind, you magnetize chaos. If peace becomes your anchor, you magnetize clarity. If confidence becomes your fuel, you magnetize momentum. Shift your gaze. Fear may be in the room, but it doesn't have to sit at the head of the table. Let conviction take that seat. Let hope speak louder. Let your thoughts dwell on what could go right. Let your actions be guided not by avoidance, but by aspiration. This shift isn't denial, it's discipline. It's choosing to use your mental energy to build rather than brace, to move rather than freeze, to expect rather than dread. Fear will always exist. It is a natural companion of growth, but fear doesn't have to lead. You are not a servant to it. You are the master of your focus. And when you shift that focus, when you fill your vision with your highest intentions, you begin to walk in alignment with a different result. One shaped by longing, not by dread. One built through conviction, not bracing. So guard your attention, protect your inner spotlight. Don't let fear steal the stage. Rehearse the finish, not the fall. And watch how your energy and your results begin to follow suit. Identity change precedes circumstance change. Individuals often attempt to fix their existences by fixing the conditions around them. They chase more money, enter new relationships, design better routines, and while these things can be valuable, they are not the source of lasting change. Because no matter how much you shift the surface, it will always reflect the root. And the root is your identity. You cannot ascend beyond the level of self you are loyal to. If you believe you're someone who always struggles, who is undeserving, who is stuck, then no matter what changes around you, you will find a way to return to that identity. Because the subconscious demands alignment. It pulls you back to what feels familiar, even if what's familiar is failure. So real transformation doesn't start with behavior. It starts with becoming. You must first become the kind of individual for whom the next level is normal. The kind of individual who earns more because they believe they add more value. The kind of individual who sustains healthy love because they love themselves. The kind of individual who is consistent because they no longer identify as someone who quits. Change who you are being, and what you are doing will follow. Consider it like installing a beautiful new ceiling on a crumbling structure. It might look good for a while. You may impress a few guests, but over time the cracks will show. The frame can't support the upgrade. Eventually it collapses under the weight of the illusion. That's what happens when we attempt to change results without changing our inner world. When we jump to the fruit and ignore the root, identity is the root. Circumstances are the fruit. Get the order right and the outcomes will last. Question yourself, who must I become to naturally create the existence I envision? Not by force, not by hustle alone, but with ease, because that result is aligned with who I see myself to be. It isn't about pretending, it's about preparing. Preparing your inner world to host the existence you desire, because everything you desire already belongs to a certain kind of individual, the kind of individual who thinks, acts, and believes in ways that magnetize that existence. You say you desire peace, then become someone who doesn't chase chaos. You say you desire abundance, then become someone who doesn't speak the language of lack. You say you desire respect, then become someone who respects themselves first. Your actions may speak, but your identity shouts, and the world listens. It responds to who you are, not just what you do. That's why temporary patterns fall apart if they aren't grounded in a new self-perception. Behavior without conviction is fragile. But when you believe differently, you act differently, you choose differently, and over time you magnetize differently. This isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. Alignment between your longings and your identity. When the two correspond, existence begins to feel less like a grind and more like gravity. Things flow not because they're easier, but because they finally fit. The fastest way to change your existence is to upgrade your identity. Speak like the individual you are becoming. Think like them. Make decisions as they would. Let your future self inform your present actions. Every time you act in accordance with that elevated identity, you cast a vote for who you are becoming. Eventually, that new version of you becomes your default. Not a mask, not an objective, just your reality. So don't just question, what do I desire? Question, who must I become for this to be my new normal? Because the answer to that question holds the key to everything else. You don't need to chase the fruit. You need to become the tree that naturally bears it. And once you do, the harvest takes care of itself. You are the cause, not the effect. Most individuals walk through existence reacting. They respond to problems, to individuals, to pressure, always adjusting to the external, always waiting for something outside of themselves to determine their next move. But the truth is, nothing lasting or empowered is built from a reactive posture. Until you shift from being reactive to being causal, you will never consistently magnetize what you truly long for. You were not born to drift. You were born to direct. You were given imagination, choice, and will for a reason. Not to merely survive the storm, but to steer through it. Not to be at the mercy of moods and circumstances, but to initiate change, create momentum, and anchor your existence in purpose. Being causal means you become the source of your energy, the source of your direction, the source of your outcomes. You don't wait for inspiration to strike. You decide to show up. You don't hope someone opens a door. You prepare so thoroughly that opportunity recognizes you as qualified. Consider a lighthouse. It doesn't chase ships attempting to guide them in. It doesn't panic in the storm. It stands firm. It shines consistently, and because of that consistency, ships navigate toward it. The lighthouse is a cause, not a reaction. You must become the same. You generate the energy. You set the tone. You choose your focus. You do not outsource your state of mind to the chaos around you. You create alignment from within, and the outer world begins to respond accordingly. Question yourself, where have I been waiting to sense ready instead of deciding to be ready? Where have I been reacting to existence when I should be initiating something new? Where have I allowed external triggers to shape my internal state? When you accept your role as the cause, you reclaim your strength. You no longer question, why is this happening to me? That question makes you a victim. Instead, you question, what can I create from this? That question makes you a leader. It returns authority to your hand. Every circumstance carries within it the seed of creation. But only those who look with intentional eyes will find it. Most individuals see setbacks. The causal thinker sees starting points. Most see endings. The causal one sees invitations. This shift is not about ignoring hardship or pretending everything is perfect. It's about reclaiming your authorship. You are the writer of your reality, and though you may not control every chapter, you always control the pen. Decide today to become the initiator. Wake up with intention. Speak with clarity. Act with direction. Let your days be a reflection of design, not default. You don't need to have every answer, but you do need to take the first step. You don't need to sense 100% confident, but you do need to be committed. Because existence does not wait for those who hesitate, it responds to those who move. The world bends to the one who takes responsibility. Be that one. Not because it guarantees ease, but because it guarantees growth. Because when you are causal, you are never powerless. You learn to adjust, not abandon, to adapt, not excuse, to build, not blame. Your existence is waiting for your leadership. And leadership begins the moment you decide to stop reacting and start creating. You don't need permission, you need resolve. You don't need perfect timing, you need the courage to act. Be the cause. And watch how existence begins to orbit around your clarity. Stop begging for results. Start becoming the individual who magnetizes them. Shift your patterns, sharpen your self-perception, and embody the mindset of the existence you long for. Desire more, be more. Elevate your frequency. Walk, talk, think like the version of you who already has it. The world responds to identity, not intention, placed on your heart.